by being prepared, and that's the goal of this, to be prepared. And once we do that, we can be the best lacrosse team around. So basically, in order to be prepared, to be the best team that you can, you each have to have an understanding of the game of lacrosse and all of the game situations, the offensive situations, the defensive situations, the loose ball situations like riding and clearing. And you have to develop a game plan on how to make the best of each one of these situations. Now, this Chalk Talk is 45 minutes, and it's a hard deadline at 45 minutes because I actually do have to run to somewhere. But I will try to be as informative as I can, as basic and fundamental as I can, because I think that's important to understand. And we'll review what, in my experience, in my mind, the recommendations for what a lacrosse player should do in each one of the situations that I mentioned. Again, it's not the only way. It's not the best way to some people, but in my mind, it's an effective way that's allowed me to be successful in my career at all different levels, now including the professional level. One thing I want to mention first is that this is a team sport, and in order to be successful on field, you have to understand the team concepts and understand the game itself, and make the most of playing with your buddies on that team. So again, the three situations we're going to cover: defense, clearing the ball, and then hopefully we'll get to the offense if we have time. But that's my goal to get there. And this is a great progression to start these situations, especially when playing a strong opponent. Our goal right here is to be as good as, or if not better than, the best teams out there. So it all starts with defense. I'm sure you heard it tons of times. Defense wins championships. And I know you guys have been, a couple of you that are in the audience have been blown out of the game. I've been there. I know many of you guys have run across teams that maybe aren't as good as you, or maybe are just as good as you, but they get a little lucky, score a couple early goals, and then everyone panics, everyone falls apart, and it becomes a blowout. And in those games, you just want to end. You just want the whistle to blow and the clock to run out. But to avoid this, you have to prepare. If you have a game plan and you stick to your game plan, you will ultimately put on the best product on the field that you can. And once you do that, you'll be happy with the outcome. Maybe not always a W, but if you're proud of the product that you bring to the field, and at the end of the game, you can walk off with your head held high. So I guess we'll jump right in with the defensive game situation, unless Bruce, you have anything to start off with. If not, I'll just continue on and start with that defensive game situation. Are we cool to move on? Oh. All right, well, I'll take that as a yes and just continue to go on. Well, to start off with defense, I can just say...
I'm sorry, Max, I stepped away. Can you restate what you just said there real quick? I'm sorry.
Yes, I just finished my introduction. I wanted to jump into the defensive game situation and wanted to interject to see if you had anything to add, or were cool with me moving on to the game situation.
Oh, yeah. Max, one of the things that y'all see right here is what Max is about to present to you right now, and that is showing you the role and the importance of defense. Let's start right here, Max, because everybody, one of the things that we've seen in our regular seasons is we blow out teams, and it's a lot of fun. But then when we want to come up to really test ourselves, and we come across a team that is our equal or better, many times we get blown out because we don't know how to play defense. And to me, that's the real fun of playing lacrosse. You want to play a team that's your equal or even better than you, and you want to beat them. That's quite an accomplishment. And in order to do that, you have to be able to stabilize the game with defense. Wouldn't you agree, Max?
Absolutely. And I'll start from there.
Sure.
Defenses can be extremely complex. I will tell you this, at Cornell, we had a textbook of defenses, and it changed every game based on our opponent, but it all was rooted from the same fundamental strategies on defense. So it's important to understand, first, your individual responsibilities, and then from that, built in to those defensive group team responsibilities. To start off, at Cornell and in the professional level, my philosophy is, and I tell this as a captain on my teams to my players, if you don't have enough juice to get back in the hole and play defense, then don't play offense. So just to clearly state this one more time, if I carry the ball over the midfield, I was playing defense and I have the ball and I carry it over the midfield and I'm gassed, or I have a little bit juice left, but I know if I go hard and make a hard offensive play and all of a sudden their goalie makes a save and clears it, I have to be able to get back into that defensive end as fast as I can, because that's my responsibility. I let my team down if I stayed on offense and played knowing that I wouldn't be able to get back on defense. So that's very important. For me, defense is one of the most fun aspects of the game. I love playing offense, yes, but defense is a very, very important part of the game. But again, something I love playing and I'm very passionate about. And hopefully you'll see that throughout my explanation. But it's very fundamental. Just like in every other sport, the goal on defense is 1, stop the ball, stop them from scoring. 2, you got to get the ball back. And 3, you got to get the ball to the offensive end. So defense in itself, we know our job. We have to stop that ball and get it to our offensive end. Because obviously in order to win the game, you have to score more goals than the other team. So again, but defense, important. And it's all done with communication. Now, individual responsibilities, you have to find your man and cover up. You have to mark up on your man, and you have to communicate to the rest of your team that you've got the ball. Everyone else, through this communication, you have to locate where that ball is. If you're on ball again, you're in a position, which I'll get to in a second, a specific position. And if you're off ball, you're sloughing in, which means you're staying close in. So on this field right here, you see the heart. Now, that heart right now is defined by about 8 yards to the right of the crease, 8 yards to the left of the crease, and about 10 to 12 yards above the crease. So if you could draw like a little box in your mind, that's the heart. That's the heart of the defense. And if someone comes in there, that's the most dangerous part of the field for their goalie, right? So we want to prevent people from getting into that heart. So what we're going to do now, once we know where the ball is, everyone's communicated, talking up the teammates, now we have to focus on, first, our individual responsibilities. So there's 2 lines on the defensive end that I want you to understand. It's very fundamental. The green line right there, and it's labeled GLE. All that means is goal line extended. So the goal line, where the goal, that white line, if the ball crosses in the goal, that's the goal line. If you extend that east and west all the way to the sideline, that's the goal line extended. The other line that I'm going to have Bruce draw right now is straight down the heart of the field. So from right there, perfect, right down the middle. So the green line is for the long pole defenseman to focus on, and the yellow line is for the defensive midfielders to focus on. Now, what's your goal here as a defensive midfielder is? In this position, let's say the blue midi has the ball, and the red midi is the defensive midfielder. The red midi's responsibility on defense, his individual responsibility, is to force that ball down to the side of the field, down what we call the alley. We want to force that ball down the alley of the field. We want to play on his back hip. We want to force him down that side of the field. Now, the reason we do this is because we want to prevent that midi from getting not only to the heart, but just the middle of the field, because our whole defensive premise is built off the concept of we're going to force their offense to positions on the field where, 1, they're least dangerous, 2, where we know they're going to be, and that way we'll have our team support system and a slide package in place so that we could cover if we're beat. So now if we know that we're going to get beat in a situation, as long as we're prepared to slide, then we're completely fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with sliding. That's part of defense. So again, defensive midfielder's responsibility, keep that midfielder down the side of the field, away from the middle of the field, force him down the side. in your mind, you're playing 45-degree angles. Your feet should almost be lined up with the corner of the end zone. You can almost look at it. And it's a 45-degree angle, forcing him down that side. You do not want him to get to the middle of the field, because if he does, that breaks down the defense. And if you think about it, one last point, if you're shooting from straight down the middle of the field, or if you're shooting from all the way on the left, which is easier for the goalie to save, or which is harder for that midi to score on? Again, it's that one up down the side. So now we've got our defensive midfield responsibility down on defense.
Hey, Max, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the 2-2-2 in bow tie for you right now so that you can go over slides. And while I'm doing that, you can talk to everybody.
All right. So as you set this up, just to quickly move to the long pole defense, their responsibility again and their reference point is that goal line extended, that green line. So if an attackman starts to come close to that green line, your job is to roll him back towards behind the crease, what we call the X. So you want to roll the offensive attackman behind the goal. Once he's behind the goal, he can't score. You can't score from behind the net unless there's some freak play. So our goal, again, is to keep that attackman behind the goal. And by doing so, we're doing exactly what our defense is built for, understanding where their players are going to be and putting them in a position where, one, they're least dangerous, and two, where we're going to be able to understand where they are and react. So if we could get this, let's say, there we go, getting our field set up here, and I'll explain just a basic slide package. And it's very simple, and it's key to understand that everyone has to be on the same page. What you're going to start to see here is just a quick 2-2-2 offense formation that Bruce has drawn, and it's almost like a bow tie shape or an hourglass.
I got those guys a little close, but you understand.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So the concept here is, because it's a 2-2-2, we're going to be sliding from the crease. This is called crease sliding defense. Now, okay, don't worry about that. I'll explain it. You messed some up, but we're good.
Okay, sorry about that.
No worries. It's perfect. So let's say midi 1 in blue has the ball.
Okay.
And he dodges. And midi 1 in red, he's taking care of his responsibility and forcing him down the side of the field.
So midi 1, do you want me to dodge? Do you want him to go down the pipe, or do you want me to go towards the cage?
Towards the cage. That's perfect.
Okay, so he's going here.
Perfect. Yep. Now, as this is happening, as this dodge is starting, everyone on the defense is communicating, starting with that goalie. So when the ball first comes down and they set up in their 2-2-2 offensive formation, the goalie says to his defense, they're in a 2-2-2 formation, or they're in a deuces formation. We're sliding from the crease. Now, M1 pulls the ball out, and he's ready to dodge. Now the goalie, who's the commander of the field right now, he has to get everyone on the same page. If one person's not on the same page, defense falls apart. It's a team system. So now the goalie is communicating, they're in a 2-2-2, we're sliding from the crease. A1, sorry, D1, you're hot, because M1's got the ball. D1, you're hot. M3, you're 2. M2, you're a third side. So by doing that, he's letting his defenseman know what's going to happen next. Everyone has these designated positions, and it changes every time the ball moves, which is the tough part about it. But no one moves off their man until the goalie says so, and the trigger word to slide comes from the goalie every time, and that trigger word is fire. You yell fire. If the goalie needs a slide and he thinks that midfielder is starting to be in a dangerous position, he yells fire. So in this instance, M1 beats blue M1 beats red M1, and he says fire. So by doing so, D1 says, I'm hot, he slides. M3 in red says, I got your 2, I got your 2. He recovers to where D1 is, and now A1's covered. And then M2 in red will shuffle down and defend that backside midi right there, correct? And then he's covered. Now, it's the original defenseman's responsibility, M1 in this situation, M1 in red, to get back into the hole and then recover out to the furthest man on the field, which in this situation would be the backside midi M2. Right. So now, again, it's a basic pulley system, and it's very, very, very effective if everyone's on the same page. Now, in most situations, it's even effective if you just get the first and second slide. But in a perfect world, we want to get all 4 slides. And if everyone's on the same page and everyone has their ear listening to that goalie, then everyone should be moving in tandem. Everyone on a pulley system should be working together, and then everyone's covered. Therefore, perfect defensive execution. Their offense is either going to A, force a bad shot, B, not be able to escape that slide and get stripped, ball turnover, or 3, they're going to have to reset. Just like us on defense, we'll reset. So we've done our job. That's a simple formation on defense. Now the only other, and it's the same thing if the dodge were to come from behind. Now the other formation on defense, which I don't think we'll run through now, we're going to move on, but the other formation on defense is a simple adjacent slide package. So instead of what we just showed, which is a crease slide package, you have an adjacent slide package, and it's exactly what it sounds. It's probably what the players right now are doing at your age. It is the nearest guy slides. But again, it's the same pulley system. If one guy slides, the next guy in line has to take his man. And then so far, the whole way through until the original defenseman who got beat recovers to the furthest man on the field. But again, we're going to move on. I think one defensive crease rotation right now is as basic as it is a lot of information. So I don't want to flush you guys.
Hey, Max, when you all went to the national championship in 2009, one of the things that was really impressive was that win over, was it #1 ranked Virginia? You guys, I mean, you beat them and beat them really bad. How important was all this with Virginia in the semifinals?
Virginia, I think, at this point was scoring 14, 15 goals a game. And for us, we would consider that a complete failure if they did, because we didn't let, I think maybe 1 or 2 teams scored more than 10 goals on us. So for us, what we did, again, was play a team system. We knew they had some of the most highly offensive powered guys in Shamel and Rommel, Brett, and I'm sure those are names you've heard, and Steele Stanwyck. Those names, those guys are very, very good. So, yes, they may be able to beat a defenseman, but they can't beat a team defense. And in a team defense, again, you have 7 guys on defense versus 6 guys on offense. You include your goalie in this number. You have 7 guys working as a team, as a unit, against 6. So if they're best, our philosophy was basically, that's fine. If we get beat, we know that the slide's going to be there waiting, and everyone's going to know where to go and recover. And it ended up, we beat them, I think it was something like 14-5, because we slid, we recovered, we played unselfish defense, and by doing so, they took bad shots, they had a lot of turnovers, put our goalie in a position to make a lot of saves that he can from the outside, and then from there we took care of business on the offensive end.
Now, Max, in the interest of time, because we have a hard stop at 8:05, everybody, first of all, there's a chat box here. If you could, type in either the question and answer box. And if you don't know how to use this, it's one of the things we're going to ask you is about the interface. And we've got a question here actually from Chris Arnold. Chris Arnold, I'm sorry, Chris, I missed that. Chris's dad, Dan, is from Long Island. You got a questionnaire from them. He was talking about a second slide. Yeah, Chris, we'll review this at the clinic. So let's hold that question for a little bit later. If y'all could either type in here and we'll review it later. We want to move on. But what we can do to improve this vehicle. It's a very, very powerful medium. We know we got a long way to go to optimizing it, but with your feedback, we'll do that. So, Max, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up everybody in a 3-3. If you could walk us through in just in a couple of minutes, talk about the clear, and then Absolutely. Let's spend the remainder of time on offense.
All right. I will run through this quick. So, obviously, our job on defense is now done. And in order to win a game, we have to get the ball to offense. And I've seen teams struggle where they play great defense, and all of a sudden they can't get the ball to the offensive end because they can't clear. So this is a very important part of the game. Now, goalie makes a save, turnover, whatever it is, the first thing that should be heard is clear. Goalie should yell as loud as he can, clear. That's the most important aspect so far. That way, again, everyone's on the same page. Once he yells clear, now we'll explain what the positions on the field need to be filled. So goalie yells clear. He's got the ball. So first thing, all at the same time, this is going to happen. D2 is going to run out wide. He's going to take a banana-shaped route and basically hit. Before I go, notice where the box is. The box is the substitution box. That is very important in the clear. So back to where I was saying. Goalie says clear. First thing, both D2 and D3 are going to do the same thing on each side of the field. They're going to take a banana cut and cut basically to goal line extended. Perfect, right there. And they're going to stop about even with goal line extended. Now, D1, his responsibility is to run towards the box. Now, right now, certain things will happen differently at a higher level of lacrosse. There will be a substitution there, but right now, D1 right by the box waiting is perfect. We're setting you up for success in this game, and with this philosophy, you'll be able to easily transition once you get more advanced. So those three positions on defense need to be filled. Now, M1, M2, and M3 have three slots to fill. So the first slot is opposite box side. So opposite box side, we need one to stretch the field out, get as wide as you can, about midfield.
Oh, hold on for a second. Let me put these guys back real quick. Hold on.
Yeah.
That's very sensitive writing instrument here. Okay, so I'm putting these guys back. And I'm not going to write the attack back. I'm just going to put D1, D2, D3. They did the banana breaks. D1 went to the goal. Now I got midi 1 here, midi 2 here, and midi 3 here.
Correct.
Midi
so now,
3 to break out here.
Right, so he's stretching the field out. His heels should be on that sideline. He wants to create space for this clear. The more spread out we are, the better we are, because the ball travels faster than the feet. So M3 goes as wide as he can. M2 streaks down the middle of the field. He wants to create space. He streaks down the middle of the field. And if that option is there, if the goalie says clear and all of a sudden M3 and M2 or one or the other beats their defenseman downfield, he can make that pass and create a transition opportunity or fast break. But if not, you still have to sprint to those spots, because once you sprint to those spots, again, we're getting our feet set and position set so we could move into our next phase, which would be a slow clear. So M3, M2 fill their spots, and M1 almost replaces where M2 was, and he's going to be right in that middle of the field. And he's going to focus on, again, this is always a short stick midi, a stick handler. Try to be one of our more athletic guys. He's going to get, if the goalie gives him the ball, our goal is to run that ball out right there. Again, if someone picks him up, he moves it to the open guy. It's simple. Again, we are 7 versus 6 in this clear on this side of the field. We have our goalie to our advantage. So once we've got these 6 slots filled, everything should fall into place. Our goal, again, shot save, goalie clear. We want to get that ball moving up the field as fast as we can. If it's not there, then we can move the ball to either D3 or D1, be patient, slowly move the ball up the sideline or through M1 in the middle of the field and move the ball over. Now,
And the defenseman can be athletic, and they may outrun the attackman going up the field.
Absolutely. So clear is very important, and we want to get that ball out of our end of the field into the offense. Now, once we do that, we have to be smart, obviously. We want to take the best shot, not the first shot. So when we move the ball over the field, we'll transition into what we're thinking on the offensive side of things. So
yeah, and everybody, this is one of the things that we've worked really hard with, because to us, strong defense and predictable clears, this stabilizes the game. Now with this, we can withstand attacks from a stronger team. And when that ball comes over, the mindset that we want our players to have is that this is everybody kind of using a business analogy, parents. I know kids, this is going to be hard and I have to figure out a good analogy for the kids, but we've got lacrosse capital. I've got $1 million check to start a business, and I can't blow the money. We've got possession of the ball, and we're not going to have somebody just run down to take a shot because what he just drew on the board, what I drew on the board in the direction of Max, could be going the other way. What's the expression you like to use, Max? The tables could be turned very rapidly.
Correct.
So now we're coming down, Max. You got the ball coming down to give you a clean sheet. If you could please walk us through what should happen here. Like, what's the first thing that happens? You were talking about in the previous presentation, the attackman is the captain, and the attackman calls out something like red, or can you please explain?
Yep. So if the ball moves over and for some reason the goalie makes an excellent pass on the run to one of our midfielders, and he's streaking down the field and he's got a great opportunity for a fast break because we have more numbers than them, meaning we have 4 players and they have 3, then the attack is the one who captains this or decides this and yells out green, 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 which means go ahead, fast break, which means now we're in our fast break formation. But in most situations, it'll turn into a slow clear, or it's either a 4-on-4 or a 5-on-4, and we don't really see numbers that we don't want to again blow that check, that $1 million check right away. We want to we want to work the ball until we find the best shot, not the first shot. So ball comes over, we're not in a favorable position. One of the attackmen or all of the attackmen will start to communicate to the midfielders, red, red, red. Slow the ball down. Let's get into a formation. Get the ball down the side, work it through the attack. We want to work the ball around, and everyone, just like we were on defense, has to be on the same page. Now, in order to do so, we have several different offensive options. So let's say I come across the field and one of the players or the coach yells out, Deuce's offense. We want to be Deuce's offense. At Cornell, I had the ability to call that if I wanted to, and all it was a simple raise my fist in the air. By doing that, that meant deuces. If I put both arms out wide like a T, then that meant we were going into a 1-4-1, what we call the Texas formation. But again, right now we're going to stick with the 2-2-2 deuces formation. Ball comes over to the offensive side. Now we're all on the same page. Now we're working the ball around. We're being patient. We want to get on the same page. The next thing we have to do to get on the same page is understand where the dodge is coming from. Just lost the screen there.
Yeah, all right. We're good. We're good.
Okay, I'll continue to.
Yeah, keep going.
After we've got our set, so now we're in 2-2-2, the next thing we have to understand is where the ball is going to start, where the dodge will be initiated from. Now, for us, we number the field, but it doesn't. You could even call someone's name out. It doesn't really matter. You're not giving the defense any advantage to knowing where the dodge is coming from. Because what we did at Cornell, we got whoever, let's say M1 is dodging, we would get the ball to M1, and M1 would be the highest guy in the field, up by like the 40, 45-yard line, so he could catch the ball running downhill towards that goal, running full speed. And his job, his individual responsibility on offense is to dodge as hard as he can, because he's the designated dodger. He's dodging as hard as he can, and his goal is to score a goal. In the back of his mind, he should be dodging to score. Now, that's not always going to happen. And again, we do not take that shot if it's just the first shot. We only take that shot if it's the best shot, right? So we dodge as hard as we can with the mentality that we're going to beat our guy and go to the goal. So that's exactly what we do. We dodge our guy, we beat our guy. But all of a sudden, someone slides. Now we have to be able to react. Now my individual responsibility is to move the ball, to make the right decision, to move the ball to the open guy. So again, if that shot's not there, we either, depending on where they slide from, you move the ball. Now, before we get into exactly what happens, I'm going to take a couple steps back and break it down pretty simple. No matter what formation we're in, every offense, whether we're in a 2-2-2, a 1-3-2, a 1-4-1, a 2-3-1, the middies are working in tandem, in a triangle. We're just rotating in a triangle. And the attack are doing the exact same thing. They're working together. They're rotating in a triangle. Every time, they're rotating in a triangle. So in this situation right now, we said it before. Midi 1, he's got the ball. He's dodging down the side. He's dodging down the alley. He beats his guy. But all of a sudden, slide comes. So as this dodge is happening, as Midi starts to dodge towards that goal, perfect right there. Now, M2 has to follow M1 to give that option for a throwback. M3 has to follow M2. See the triangle there? Very simple. Now, as that's happening, A1, A2, and A3 are acting in a triangle. So A2 will cut towards the crease and make what we call a low C. So he's making a little cut. As he comes through the crease, he's going to look back towards that ball. A2 is going to slowly, as he fades to where A3 is, he's going to hang on that back pipe for a little bit just in case that sneak look is there.
Do you mean A1 there?
Yep. Before he sneaks back to A3. Yep. And that's ultimately where he needs to end up. And then A3 has to make sure he gets through X to where A2 was. So that adjacent look for M1 forward is there as well. So again, to break it down even simpler, M1 dodges. Now he has options. He's got a throwback to M2 or a throw forward to A2. So there, he's got 3 options right there. So very simple. Triangle rotation. At the midfield, again, you're rotating, you're following, and that's simple. Now it can get a little bit more advanced, and the most advanced it'll get really is instead of M2 following M1, because let's say in this particular drawing, M3 is closer to that position. M3 could just pop out, and then M2 could just drop back and fade towards the backside. As long as those 3 positions are filled, then your responsibility is taken care of. So if the middies communicate and are on the same page, then you're all taken care of. Again, same thing if the dodge comes from behind. You're rotating from a midfielder standpoint. You're rotating towards the ball. So if, let's say, you don't have to draw this right now, but let's say, just visualize this. A3 has the ball, and he's dodging, and he dodges up to his right hand, and he's dodging around that crease. All right? M2 runs to M3. M1 runs to
tell me what the setup, and I'll do it. I'll wipe this, wipe all this off. You want me to do the 2-2-2 again?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So I'm going to just put them all back to where they were.
All right.
M1, M2, M3, A1.
Yeah. So now, as this is happening, just notice the hourglass shape is there for a reason, because M3 and A1, because now they're on the crease, they have the option of working together. So as the ball's moving around and they're swinging the ball, A1 and M3 are now working together, setting picks for each other, popping for the ball. It won't always be there, but as they're moving inside, they're occupying the defense, confusing them. Therefore, they won't be prepared to slide. So the more we move, the more we shift up a little bit, shift down, set a pick, set a screen, the more we're active inside and we keep moving, we may pop open for an open shot on the crease, but more importantly, we're keeping our defense occupied and moving, which will allow our original dodger more room and time to get that shot off. But one more time through, let's say A2 is dodging, and he dodges
the ball. And he's
A2
dodging
has the
which
ball.
way?
He's dodging. He wants to score. He wants to go above that. He beat his defenseman top side, and he's going towards that goal. So, again, M3 is going to have to get out of his way and fade to M2.
So M3 is going to go to here.
Yep. Again, simple triangle. M1 cuts to the crease for a shot. He should be in there earlier, or he could just clear through again. And obviously this is not to scale, but we want to, again, give our dodger as much room as we can. So by understanding and setting it up, like I said to begin with, if we all know what formation we're in, Now all of a sudden we all know who's dodging. That allows me to understand, hey, I need to get through early, right? If I'm M1, I know I got to get through early because A2's dodging, and then everyone else fills their spot. So it's
I numbered these. Max, does this make sense? Number 1 was move number 1. M3 moving up to M2 is move number 2. A1 move to A3 is move number 2.
It's all,
and then A3, because these triangles are rotating in parallel, are they not?
They are. And now, like you said, it's all happening at the same time. So if to number them is not doing it justice, everyone has to be on the same page, moving at the same time in order for all this to happen in the right way. And if we're stagnant in offense, if we just stand, then it is very, very, very easy to play defense. You don't have to worry about slides. You can have one person helping to support, and then you can just recover exactly back where you came from because nobody's moving. Right. So offensively, it's important, 1, to be on the same page, 2, understand what formation we're in, 3, understand where the dodge is coming for, 4, understand where you're going next, and always being in a position to catch and shoot or catch and move. Now, one last thing I'll add is, and this is next level stuff, but it's very simple concept to understand. Wherever the dodge comes from, if you pass the ball, wherever the dodge comes from, if you do not shoot, the ball should move 2 times. It should take 2 passes to get to the opposite side of the field. So in this situation, without anyone rotating, just to quickly get this point in your head, and this is the last point I'll leave on offense. If A2 dodges, and he dodges upfield, and the slide comes, he's going to move it to M1 to M2. So it's a quick up, across. And by doing that, you're moving the ball from the bottom left corner now to the top right corner in a matter of 2 passes. So your whole defense that you were going up against was focused, and their slat package and everything was ready to attack A2. And now all of a sudden, you've got a quick dodge coming from the opposite side of the field. You'll have no slide support. That player will get a great opportunity to beat his defenseman and get a great shot off. So that concept right there, no matter where you dodge from, as long as you dodge hard and move the ball, that the adjacent pass should always be ready to catch and swing it one more. So it's 2 passes away that's most important on offense. And other than that, there's so much more to offense. But those basics, the triangle rotation, the understanding where to be, when to be, and being able to move on your toes and understand that your responsibility is complete once those spots are filled, then everything falls into place. And it's, again, a lot. I know I'm throwing you a lot, but try to focus on those key basic fundamentals. And the root of everything else, the root of every other play that you're going to make, or every other set play you're going to create, or every other offense you're going to go in, whether it's a 1-4-1, like I said, or a 1-3-2 or 2-2-2, this same philosophy holds true. So
now, one of the things that you stress is flawless execution of the fundamentals. A lot of kids spend a lot of time trying to get a hard shot. They like to look at the radar gun, and they like to try fancy moves. How important, and this is a rhetorical question, everybody, but you hear it from Max. One of the things we do is we practice catching and throwing, and somebody can catch and throw well, but when they throw on the run, it becomes less stable. Catch and throw on the run under pressure becomes more unstable. That's a fundamental thing. Yes. Max, how important is that at this level? I mean,
I'll tell you how important it is that, first off, be prepared to start the day off with fundamental stick work, because that's the root of everything. Every time I went and worked out in school, it was mandatory as a team to bring our sticks to the workout, because after the workout was complete, we had to do a specific wall ball routine every time. And we're at the college level, and we had to work on our stick skills every time we worked out. So that was 3 to 4 times a week. Every time we were playing wall ball at the college level, Division I, we went, and I know that's it pays off, because when we show up in the summer and everyone's stick skills are a little rusty, and we're getting yelled at in practice because we can't run our offense because we can't move the ball around. And then all of a sudden you start to see practice goes a little bit more smooth, a little bit more smoother, and it's because you're consistently working on the fundamental skills of catching and throwing. If you can make a 10-yard pass, a 20-yard pass at most, 20 yards is more than enough. All you have to be able to do is make that adjacent look, and that adjacent look should never be more than 20 yards. It's usually going to be shorter than that. It's a nice, crisp, overhand, fundamentally sound pass, and it doesn't have to be a rip. It doesn't have to be, a lob. It has to be a solid pass. As long as it gets to where it needs to be, everything's going to run smoother, and I'm going to make sure to drill in certain fundamental skills, because I know firsthand how important it is as a player on the field, how hard it is to, one, read a pass that's coming from someone's hip, or how inaccurate sometimes those passes are because they're coming from so many different angles. So again,
hey, Max, we are at 8:45. I know you got a hard stop. I want to say one thing real quick to that, and that is when I played lacrosse, and when I played lacrosse in adult league right now, it's very, very difficult for me when I get the ball to think of anything other than maintaining possession of the ball and running it to open space. When he talks about fundamentals, he's talking about catching and throwing and knowing where everybody is here, where everybody is in this structure. And many people, as soon as they get the ball, the only thing you think about is keeping it away from that defenseman. But a fundamental thing is being aware of the structure while you're out on the field. Would you not agree, Max?
I absolutely agree, and I will hopefully tonight enlighten you a little bit on those fundamentals, and I'm excited and happy to see what you guys have in your skill set so far and in your lacrosse knowledge at this point, and we'll hopefully continue on this process this weekend and share a little bit more from my experience and continue to build you guys up from your lacrosse IQ standpoint, and hopefully build on some of the things that we learned today. So from my end, I've got to run, but I, again, just want to say thank you for this. I'm looking forward to Saturday, and also we would appreciate any feedback. I think this is an awesome opportunity to reach out to young athletes, young lacrosse players, to teach them a lot about lacrosse from my experience, and hopefully this was helpful for you. I know this is one of our first goes at it. I know it can be more effective. We would love to hear back from you at how better it could be. So thanks again. Look forward to seeing you Saturday.
Thanks, Max. Everybody, if you could hold on for a little bit. Yeah, Max, we got a couple of questions. Thank you very, very much, Max. One kid is asking, is there a certain way to shoot hard? Max will definitely show you that in the clinic. Everybody here in the Northern Virginia community, wow, what an opportunity. Max Seibald chalk talking with us. And I can't stress enough how when he talks about the basics, we think of the basics as catching, throwing, scooping. Part of the basics is being aware of this structure. And what I see with kids in youth lacrosse and going forward, you'll get a kid that's really good, and you'll say, oh, wow, I score 4 or 5 goals a game. He never learns this. He never learns this. The only thing that he learns is, as soon as I get the ball, I'll try to touch 2 or 3 defenders to get a shot off. And he was going to, that type of player is going to encounter a coach that will say, you're a great ball player, but you're not a team player. And it's not just a moral thing. It's putting the whole a team's ability to win at risk. And again, I welcome anyone to share the experience with me. I've got a couple of adult-size helmets. Travis Grav is definitely doing this. Jim Hassett, you mentioned doing this. Put a helmet on, and then we'll have a defenseman. I can come after you and start checking you. And you'll see that the one thing you're really, really concentrating on is me poke checking you and harassing you. But while you're doing that, these other players, they're moving around. And you need to be aware of that. But in order for you to be aware of that, the team has got to maintain the structure. They've got to maintain the structure. And This is tied to lacrosse IQ. And if you watch basketball, lacrosse, all these games can break down into a series of one-on-ones where a ball hog gets the ball and goes to the hoop or the goal. And the same thing, of course, can happen in lacrosse. So that's what we're trying to do here with these Chalk Talks. We know we've got a long way to go with this. The format will definitely be polished. But what we want to do is get your feedback on this, and then take these concepts and apply the skills, backfill with the skills that make these concepts work. And you know, like one of the fun things I think is really cool, if you think about on the other end of the field, what's the viewpoint of the goalie? What's the goalie's viewpoint of this game? And his viewpoint is, gosh darn it, I don't want anybody to take a point-blank shot on me. And what's going to protect the goalie from that happening? His defenseman and his middies. And perspective on the other end of the attackman is, hey, let's set up the offense. A good attackman is truly like a Ben Roethlisberger or a Magic Johnson. Not a one-trick pony that's just trying to go to the goal and score, but a quarterback that's looking to pass or looking to scramble. And lacrosse players run patterns, and it's a lot of fun. For example, when the attacker throws the ball like a quarterback, he can't rifle the pass on a feed many times. He's got to finesse the pass. He can't throw it too lightly, but he's got to take something to it. These two passes that he's talking about, they need to go quickly, but they cannot be spastically fast. It's got to be under control. So Max is experimenting with this. One of the things we're trying to do is figure out how we can convey these principles to young kids and make it fun. And again, please let us know, what your thoughts are on that. One of the things that I can think of is kids play airsoft. And these questionnaires coming in, kids are all talking about how they like to play airsoft. Well, if this was one airsoft fort and this was another airsoft fort, the kids would know that they'd have to circle around this airsoft fort to protect it. And, let's say a small ball that was acting as a grenade, the kid had to get the grenade, possession of the grenade to throw it back in. Well, they know that if they just come in this one way with the grenade, there are going to be a bunch of guys waiting there. So they're best off coming in and then faking it, coming in here, and then passing it on. Same general principle. So we all have only one chance of raising our kids. We want our kids to have a great childhood. We want our kids to learn. And I think one of the things you're seeing with lacrosse, playing good lacrosse, there's just no two ways around it. It's complex. It's a complex game. And to hear from Max Seibald how these things are done, you can't get a better authority. And, Max, I don't know if you all know anything about Cornell lacrosse. It's one of the greatest lacrosse traditions in the game. The mid-1970s Cornell team was absolutely one of the best teams of all time. And I'm going to send you for some video homework a clip of Eamon McEnany and Mike French. Eamon unfortunately died in 9/11, worked for a company, Cantor Fitzgerald, in one of the Trade Center towers in New York City. And when you see Eamon McEnany on the field, it's timeless lacrosse. It's amazing. And what's amazing about McEnany is as he comes off the end line, and he's doing this against Hopkins, you see that he burns his man, but he's always cocked back to make a pass or to shoot. Really quite remarkable. So everyone, we all thank you for attending, and please provide us with feedback. We know that this is very, very rough right now, but we think it's a very powerful tool. And again, one of the things that we like to do, because I played college lacrosse, and believe me, college lacrosse did not make me rich. It was a great experience. There's life after lacrosse. And one of the things we want to do is make our kids the smartest kids on the field. And the things that kids learn to play smart lacrosse translate into leadership and teamwork in the professional world and in many other facets of the world or in one's life. So thank you, and we will see you all on Saturday. If you all would like, I've recorded this. Unfortunately, I started the recording about 2 or 3 minutes into the presentation. But if you'd like to see this recording, I can put it up on YouTube. And Max will not be available tomorrow night or Thursday night. But if anybody wants to experiment with this Chalk Talk medium, we can do that. So please let me know. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you on Saturday. Have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me. Bye-bye.